In the modern world, there are a lot of things that we tend to take advantage of. One good example, is the camera. Nowadays, taking a picture is easy. Just clicking a button and you get the image you want. But what a lot of people don't realize is just how difficult it was to take a picture. The camera we know today evolved from something called a camera obscura. A camera obscura was a large box or a room with a tiny hole on one side. When pointed at a scene and when light would shine through the hole, an image of the scene would be projected onto the opposite wall, upside down. The camera obscura dates back as far as the ancient Greeks and Chinese. People like Leonardo da Vinci used it as an aid to drawing, to better understand perspective. Other than drawing and painting, there wasn't any way to preserve an image at that time. Well, until 1816 anyway, when the first successful photograph was taken by Nicephore Niepce, using a camera of his own design and a piece of paper coated in silver chloride, a substance that darkens when exposed to light. This created the first negative picture, although the picture was not permanent and it faded away soon after it was taken. It was not until 1825 that the first permanent photo was taken and preserved. It was taken by a French inventor known as Joseph Niepce, and it depicts a view from the window at La Grasse, where he made his first camera. The exposure on the image had to last 8 hours for good effect, and that is why you can see the suns shining on both sides of the towers in the picture. To make a permanent photo, Niepce had to use a petroleum derivative called bitumen of Judea. Bitumen hardens when exposed to light, and the unhardened substance was then washed off using a cocktail of chemicals. The metal plate that bitumen rested on then had to be polished, rendering a negative image that was then covered in ink to produce a print. This is known as a wet plate. It requires a darkroom to process the image, and it has to be processed right after it's taken, making it difficult for photographers to take pictures where they couldn't take a darkroom. The creation of the dry plate changed that. The dry plate didn't require a darkroom to process the image immediately, and later came in rolls of film, and could be easily transported and processed elsewhere. The first color image was taken in 1861 by Scottish physicist James Clerk Maxwell, who was famous for his work in electromagnetism. But how has this changed people's views, and why was it radical?
The world as we know it has been formed by photography. It's the way that we see, it's the way that we visually communicate. We certainly visually communicate using photographically derived images far more than any other form. We don't advertise with drawings anymore. We don't send drawings over Facebook to our family. We don't when a newborn comes into the world, we don't reach for the sketch pad and the pencil. We record all of this with photography. So on a personal level, it's transformed the lives of everyday people by giving them access to imagery. They make it and consume it themselves, send it, share it. On an economic level, we show what Bermuda beaches look like in order to sell cruise packages. We show far off places, and people believe photography. If they see the pyramids, they go, well, they actually exist, even though that they've never themselves been there. So we use it to verify reality. It's inconceivable. The world without photography is inconceivable. One could positively say that photography turned us into an image-consuming culture, more than an oral or a verbal culture. And in that sense, it is our modern world.
Photography in the media began to take off during the American Civil War in the mid-1800s. The pictures taken of the battlefield gave people a first-hand glimpse of the reality of what was going on during the war. The same is true for today. With the use of the internet, people can internationally share pictures and let others see what is happening in the rest of the world. It gives people a taste of something happening thousands of miles away. But it doesn't come without problems. Nowadays, Photoshop is a powerful tool. If you do it well, you can remove a person entirely from history, or completely change someone's appearance. The invention of the camera has had a huge impact on the way we connect and communicate with other people on the planet. Without it, the world would be a very different place.